Have you found that people have heard this story? I mean, is this a story that is completely new to people? Have they heard pieces of it? What's been that
It's
response?
it's a real mix. I would say either they know nothing about it at all,
Hmm.
or they vaguely know that there were women who painted watches who got sick, and
Okay.
that's kind of the extent of the knowledge,
Yeah.
basically. And so they don't know their name, they don't know that it's Catherine Donahue, they don't know that it's Grace Fryer in New Jersey, and they certainly don't know, the depth to which the company sank. This really is a story, obviously, of strong women standing up for themselves, but it's also a tale of callous corporations trying to cover up, what was going on. So they don't know all the twists and turns of the story, certainly.
What did you find? Let's talk a little bit about These Shining Lives and kind of the difference between the show, which obviously is this work of creative nonfiction, and the research that you did. Was there any kind of surprises there?
Um, I would say there were kind of two key differences. One of them, as I started to touch on earlier, was about the characters of the women. So just as in life, Catherine in the play is, a happily married mother of two. That's exactly as she was in life. But Charlotte Purcell in the play is this wonderful character. I totally love Melanie Marnich is Charlotte. She's a gin swigging flapper. She smokes, she drinks. She's just fabulous, and she's perennially single as well. Well, or at least she's not married. She has fun, and there's a kind of sense in the play that depending on what elements your director brings out and the actors bring out, but you know, she and Catherine had very different home lives. That is very evident. Whereas the Charlotte in real life was a happily married mom of three.
Hmm.
And so that is a huge difference. And her family said, she was an incredibly devout Catholic. She certainly was not this, she's not the character that Melanie has fabulously created. So that was a big difference. And the other key thing for me is, These Shining Lives is a love story beyond anything not else, not just between the women and their stories of female friendship, but also it's the love story between Catherine and Tom. And, the play opens in 1922 and you've got Catherine, the babies have just been born, and she and Tom, there's the scene with, women going out to work, how do husbands feel about that, and so on. Whereas actually in real life, Catherine and Tom didn't get married until a decade later.
Hmm.
So this love story that in Melanie's play, and again, you can see dramatically why she had to do it that way. Tom is there all the way through, whereas actually Catherine was a young single woman. She and Tom weren't together when she started dial painting. In fact, she'd left the studio before they got married. So
Hmm.
it's a big difference. And the other important thing that, again, you asked about what kind of shocked or surprised me, this was a huge shock to realise, is that because Catherine got married later, she had her children later. And it was a real shock to put it all into my timeline, all the things I found out, and to realise that Catherine was diagnosed with radium poisoning and then found out she was pregnant with her daughter. So, the play illustrates so beautifully, the shock, the horror of being told you have radium poisoning, the implications that it's fatal and so on. And you're dealing with all of this. You're dealing with the decision of, do we try and take the company to court? Are we those kind of women? Do we want to rock the boat? But to think that Catherine was dealing with, the kind of the diagnosis of radium poisoning and the implications of what do we do? We're running out of money. We spent all the money on medical bills. Are we going to lose the house? And then to realize she was pregnant.
Hmm.
That is just such a huge, personal thing for any person to go through, and to realize that that's obviously a big difference from the
Yeah.
play, when that isn't an issue that, they explore. But because I was trying to trace her personal journey, to realize that was part of her journey was quite extraordinary, because obviously you're a sick woman, her treatment stopped, the treatment that the doctors were giving her stopped because they were worried it would hurt the baby, and she really, she put her daughter's life before hers.
Did
So
Were the families familiar at all with these Shining Lives, and did they talk about how they felt about the play?
Yeah, I think generally, again, they want their family stories to be known. They don't want these women to be forgotten. So they were supportive of the plays. They'd been to see it. As I say, the characters are different. So Charlotte is not like that. Len Grossman's family kind of said, he would not have sworn. He was a Southern gentleman. He was born in Atlanta, so he would not have been. I think his first line in the play is something like "those sons of bitches" or something like that. So, that wasn't the Len that they knew in reality. He wasn't a kind of fast talking Chicago lawyer. He was a Southern gentleman with a melodious voice, and it was, so those are the things that they noticed that were different. But as I say, they were supportive of the play and what it does to bring this incredible story to life.